How's it going, YouTubers? We're bringing you guys another video today, and as you can see, if you have been on Twitter, if you've been on Facebook, Discords, haven't been living under a rock, you know that Bandai today released and updated the limited and restricted list for the Digimon card game. And what we have going on right now, as you can see, is one of the first cards. But before we go into each card specifically, I wanted to just go over that these are going to be my ideas, my opinions on it. These don't stand for anybody else. You can have your own thoughts. These are going to be my opinions, how I think these affect the game. Are they good? Are they bad? So on and so forth. So just want to have the disclaimer out the way. Other than that, be sure to like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave any comments down below about your opinions on the ban list. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the list. All right, so on into the ban list, or limited list. This is going to be, like I said, my opinion. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet because I don't want to go into it too long, ramble on too much. I know I have the tendency to do that. The first one is going to be Calling from Darkness. I'm not going to worry about going over the effects. You can see them on the screen, or you can pull up the cards. You can also see what Bandai has to say about it, so I'm not going to elaborate on those either for a whole lot. All these cards are restricted, by the way. None of them are outright banned, so they're limited to one. The first one we have, of course, is Calling from Darkness. This card is one of those cards that definitely needs to be limited, if not for the reasons that Bandai has mentioned about loops and such, but more so future-proofing. This card nets an extreme amount of advantage. It's constant resource recycling. It's overly strong for what it does. Plenty of times I have had it happen where sometimes you just need that hybrid to win the game. You have 3 memory, cool. You do all your checks, you just do this, you get the hybrid back that you shouldn't have had. Maybe you're playing one of, it's in the trash. Man, that sucks. No, it doesn't, I have it back. This card, being able to have it at more than 1 is very much hard to build around in the future. There are plenty of cards. Something as easy as like a common or uncommon, like I said, a hybrid, all of a sudden becomes a much better card because you can just recycle it back. So I think Calling from Darkness, or even your top end, so I think Calling from Darkness going down from 4 to 1 is definitely a smart call. This card's been asking to get limited or banned, and I think it's a smart call. They're able to play around it, or not have to worry about constantly making purple nerfed in some way just to play around Calling from Darkness. This does nerf purple, of course, as a card going from 4 to 1 because this card was so good, but it definitely makes it easy to develop more cards in the future. So I wholeheartedly agree that Calling should have gone. The next one up is Sunrise Buster. This card is insane. This card is 100% overtuned. It nets you way too much advantage for the effect. The fact that Maid Mode exists now, which Maid Mode effectively lets you play this card for 3 memory, play a Tamer for free, delete a body for all of the for this 3 memory. You get to Digivolve into Maid Mode, play a body, delete a body, or play a Tamer, delete a body, recover 1. That then, if it comes out of security, lets you play another Tamer and delete another body. It's for 1 evolution of 3, all of a sudden you have this insane amount of advantage that just comes up. It's easy to play in any hybrid-based deck that runs yellow or red hybrids or Tamers. This card is just netting an insane amount of advantage. This card definitely had to go. This was not a healthy card. It's another one of those cards like Calling. You have to think about this card when you make more Tamers. Now, yellow, purple, red is kind of a little bit of a risky thing to build. There's a lot of inconsistency, but just think about something like we have the new Mirai Tamer that came out in BT11 in Japan. You could effectively delete a body and play it for the same amount of memory as you would as just playing it. So definitely agree. Sunrise Buster had to go. The new cross art stuff, it just netted them too much advantage to be able to play out Taiki, be able to play out Angie, Tai, their dual Tamer Taikari, and then just go from there. Like this card just, it's not healthy, and it had to go just so they could eventually maybe make something else Tamer based, or in any way, shape, or form if they ever do some hybrids. There's been some leaks for hybrid stuff. So this card just goes to the moon. So definitely understand why this card had to go. Next up, we have a little bit more of a controversial card just because of the performance of the difference in the deck's performance in North America compared to Japan. The Doru Greymon is a card that is insanely valuable to the Alphamon deck, and it nets you a whole bunch of advantage. When you pull off your combo and you just go ahead and bring itself up to the Alphamon AO, then you're able to have protection, you're able to have plenty of security attack as you attack, and you usually get a couple of attacks in because you have the Oryukin and Source. You can slot in multiple of these, so anytime during the combo, if you have a way to slot multiple Doru Greymons, then you have an Alphamon that effectively can check all the security and set itself up as just a big bungus that you can't get rid of. So I definitely can see why this card got limited in Japan, because it was doing insanely well in Japan, even into BT10. It was one of the few decks that a lot of people were getting some contention against with Crossheart, with how strong Crossheart was. But even then, it wasn't being broken. This deck was doing crazy amounts in Japan in BT9, like it was the deck. But like I said, in North America, it really hasn't even done as much. It's won events, sure, it's topped events, but it hasn't been like this insane meta-breaking thing. You know, that's been more mixed. Like BT9 for us had a lot of Metal Garurumon, which you didn't see a lot, especially in some Asian countries, because they went ahead and banned some of those cards for accessibility reasons. So it's sad to see this card go. I feel a little bad for Alphamon players because of how much this hurts their deck. I feel the worst for Dex players, people who played the Dex Dorugoromon deck. This kills your engine. Like, this was one of the big payoffs that you needed for your deck. So big sag to you guys. Shout outs to the homies. But I think this card either may mean that they have some more stuff down the line to do with X Antibody. That's potential with black-based X Antibody stuff. Maybe more Alphamon support or something. So maybe that's the reason, but it's sad to see it go for now. Maybe it comes back in the future as the deck kind of dies down. Maybe they do some testing and see if the deck is playable or not. You know, we'll have to see. But sad for now. I can see the controversial part of this, but they've limited it down to 1. The deck can still work with it. I think people have been testing it out with 1 and seeing some success. So you can still play the deck. It's just not as bonkers as before. And then next up, the one that's caused the most outroar, I would say. Like, sure, Dex Greymon, Doru Greymon has caused some outroar because they were sad about it because of how it's performed here. But at the same time, this deck is Crossheart's oppressive. Sure, we've only had it in the US for a week, and we've only had it outside of the US for 2 weeks, other than in Japan, of course. But this card has literally dominated the meta in Japan non-stop for like 3 months. It came out in BT10 came out. You had a lot of people messing with it, didn't quite get it there, finally figured out the deck, played it, and look, it was doing insane. It was getting 60% plus representation at some events, even in the top, or especially in the top cut. It was just constantly winning. Nothing could stop it. You had to hope they bricked, or just hope you had your big OTK combo or something like that. People have been playing this in the States, saying it's not as bonkers. I don't know how other people have experienced it. Every time I play this deck, it's just so incredibly consistent. It's easy to pick up, and in an easy, consistent deck that some people are having trouble with, in the hands of very skilled players, is definitely something that causes some contention. This deck would have been a problem. There's more support in BT11. There's even more support in BT12. They showed off another Shoutmon King version in a magazine. So this needed to go. I know we haven't had it for so long, but this helps future-proof another stale format. Think of it this way. You have something like in Japan where they had a long format of BT10 EX3. Long. It was months long. For us here in the States, the next set, BT11, isn't scheduled to come out until February. So if they didn't hit this card, maybe they could have hit it later, sure. But if they didn't hit this card, you're going to have 3 months of Crossheart. Sure, maybe right off the cuff, it's not doing an insane amount. You know, the Latin America event had Alphamon win, and it may have had like 1 Shoutmon. I don't actually think it even had any Crossheart decks. I haven't looked at all of the top cut lists, but it may not have done anything yet. That does not mean it will not be a menace to deal with for the next 3 months. So in order to avoid that, I do have to agree with what Bandai has done, and they have limited this card to 1. The deck is still playable. It's heavily hurt by the consistency loss of Cross 4 at 4 and Sunrise Buster at more than 1. But At the same time, I still do agree with this. In come BT11, the deck will be much more playable in my opinion. Cross 4 is fine, but you also have stuff like Cross 7. You have some more of the other stuff that you can play in the deck, like the new G Greymon and the new Omni Shoutmon, D-Cross, and everything like that. The deck is playable without this guy at 4. It just loses the extremely broken combo of being able to slam this guy over and over and over again to draw a crap ton of cards and then be able to OTK. Sometimes if you've done chip damage, all you need is 2 of these to win the game if you have a tie on field. So, you know, I wholeheartedly agree with the limit to everything on this list. I feel a little bit sorry about the Alphamon players with Doru Greymon, but I do kind of see where they're coming from. They're also seeming to want to keep the ban list similar across all regions as of right now. So if they ever decide to diverge from that, maybe they will change that. But as from right now, I have to agree with what they have, especially with Cross 4. I know you Cross 4 players and the people who have just started getting the deck are a little salty, but trust me when I say I think this is very healthy for the game in the long run. But that's really all I have to say about the actual limited cards. I do want to bring up a couple of cards that I think definitely should maybe be considered in future lists. So here for future lists, I only have 2 cards because I didn't want to go in too deep. I didn't want to make like a 20-minute video. We have Grand Kawagamon is one thing that could definitely go because this card does so much for Grandis. If you don't want to necessarily hit Grandis, now they could just hit Grandis, that's true. Maybe they want to leave this alive for a different X-Antibody type thing, but Grandis being the basic X-Antibody for Grand Kawagamon, this card is an issue. Being able to Digiburst all your sources away, get a whole bunch of effects, get jamming, get a bunch of DP, go into Grandis and just be absolutely freaking huge with 2 security checks extra. So he's swinging 3 checks. He's able to give piercing because of the effect of like Promo Okuamon. Maybe Promo Okuamon's the issue. Not the case. Definitely this guy being able to give you a bajillion checks. But Promo Okuamon is like the build-up to protect you for the ending turn if you want to, you know, end on something like Hard Slam a blocker or something like that. But you basically clear off the field. I'm just bubbling right there. I don't know what happened. But this guy being able to give you so much Digiburst, or give you the Digiburst to gain effects, gain security attack, this card needed to go. Or in my opinion, something needs to happen to it. Sure, you could have it at 1, but even then, then it becomes like super sacky, but that's better than just having it every single time. Basically, once Grandis gets everything, you're dead. And it never goes away. It stays the same. It's done. It even does well in BT10. It does well in EX3. Guess what? It does well in BT11, where Black War Greymon X is insanely broken. But the one deck that can beat it, Grandis Kawagamon. Maybe that's the shining grace of it. Maybe that was why they won't do anything. But I still think Grandis needs to go, and this is a good limit. The other one is Wergarurumon promo. This has been banned in a few Asian countries because of the fact that, for availability reasons, this card nets too much. It does an insane amount for the Garurumon or Melgarurumon X. Being able to unsuspend so it gets a check-in and it's inheritable is insane because then you're able to go ahead and bounce a dude with the X version of Wergarurumon X. Then you're able to go into your Metal Garurumon and then Metal Garurumon X to bounce even more stuff. If you want to just have Metal Garurumon and Metal Garurumon, or Metal Garurumon X and Wergarurumon X to bounce stuff, that's absolutely fine. You can keep it as like, do some chip, have a little bit of control while also doing stuff, that's fine. But the fact that with this, you have its swing, it usually has protection from something like a Garurumon X Antibody. You have the check from this to give you 1. You swing it again, you Digivolve into Wergarurumon X. Now you have 2 checks, you're unsuspended. You can swing it again, activate X Antibody in the source, bounce everything, bounce stuff on your opponent's field, and do another 2 checks. If you have memory left over, then you just end on a Blitz Omni, because you're unsuspended when you Digivolve into Metal Garurumon X, you could have something like that last swing as well, or something like a Omnimon X Antibody to go into that from the new one from BT10 and just guarantee a win. The fact that it just gives the extra security tag. 8 cards in hand is not hard for blue to do. It's not hard for this deck to do. Promo Garurumon is insane, but it's just, you could even leave Promo Garurumon as long as this guy was gone. So, but that's really all I have to say about my predictions. There's a few other cards that could maybe go. You could make an example for like something like Cool Boy, but Cool Boy isn't necessarily broken in and of itself. It's kind of crazy that it's a 2 cost, but I could see examples for Cool Boy. I could see people talking about X Antibody because it's not a once per turn. I just don't think Cool Boy would go anywhere necessarily, and I don't think X Anybody's going anywhere, especially after they showed off that really dope alternate art that they're going to print in the future. So this is what I have. This is pretty much what I have for the video. It's a little bit longer than I already wanted. I know I said I didn't want to ramble. It's about 15 minutes, but I did want to go over the list, let you guys know my thoughts on it. If you guys have any other opinions of your own, anything down, mention it down below. I did leave out one specific thing. I did leave out Death X. I don't know if they will ever ban Death X in the near future because it's a secret rare. That is my opinion on it. Yes, for people from other card games, that's not an excuse, but it is one of the driving forces to push product. And I don't blame them. Death X is kind of good for some matchups. You know, if somebody gets a little too out of control, Death X can help you reset. Maybe you see that as too much of an issue. I can kind of see it. I do see it. But if anything, it goes to 1. I'd never see Death X being banned. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But other than that, that'll be it for the video. I've rambled on long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. If you did enjoy the content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We do ruling videos here, deck profiles, gameplay videos, such like that. Leave any comments down below about any of your opinions on the new Forbidden and Limited list and cards that you think could maybe go in the future. Hit the notification bell if you want to know my videos go live. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Don't be sad. This too shall pass. You guys got this. Catch you in the next one.